Thanks, Nat. Okay, so I'm going to start by not reading from my new book. I'm going to read a piece that was published in this journal called Outspoken, like gay out, yeah. Okay. I think that covers it, yeah? Okay. A tendency toward futurity. Leaning, we reiterate ourselves. Split, reiterate, overwrite. A past, ours and not ours. Captioning into the present. Lounging language into being. Layered into, that is to say. Seriously. That is to say. I used to describe dysphoria to my psychiatrist, social workers, therapists, basically anyone who would write the script, anyone who would write the letter, as a doubling, cross your eyes, object, subject, an image over doubled, on itself overlap, slender and more solid, irreconcilable. To anyone who could block the hormones, who could block the surgery, we're not enough for ourselves. That's what she said. She tells me when I go to the clinic to say that I was having a panic attack, that my friend gave me an Ativan, oh, but don't say Xanax, and that it felt like my anxiety was a jacket I could take off and drape over the chair next to me. It's still there, but it's not mine. I don't write love letters anymore. I'm high as fuck functioning or whatever. And this is how you get your script. To get a higher dose, like the higher dose, all you have to do is failing to hang yourself in the closet of a psych clinic, derailed by details just long enough for... She worked at the Needle Exchange, the trans clinic hotline. She ODs, it's not uncommon. We find out on social media, intent unclear. Obituaries are a timeline, linear and relational, that is heterogenerational. Blank and voidoid, that is autocorrect without context. Gimme your context. Begging for it. Strung out on some P&P trade because I need to crash between the 36-hour function and working the 36-hour function and working the 36-hour function, between the pare, the kikis, the after, and working the 36-hour function. Between is a brief interlude. Between is a brief interlude from slinging a queer contact high to white bride tourists, I mean hyper allies, over the moon about their rainbow tights. You can always tell who to bump the price up for. Can always tell who's a narc by their sneakers, their stance. Between is your P&P trade on Grindr who's trying to find a T-girl third who doesn't have a rose in her profile, that is, who's free. So he can feel like she actually wants him. I mean, us. I decide not to mop his Connie, at least not most of it. I take nudes in his well-lit bathroom, send them to 3 different people to see how they respond differently. He lurked in the corner in slacks. He lurked in the corner in slacks. Oh, never mind. He clocked me as a T-girl at the function, or at least he thought he clocked me. Language always precedes sex. Desire a prophylactic against prescribed anticipated violences. Exposition a necessary prelude, a content warning. It's safer that way. In the end, again, I am my genitals. A hole is a hole, however you square it. Violence is casual. Leave the car door unlocked, your back to the wall, and eye toward objects. Eventually comes so naturally to you. The nearest exit, what object to latch onto, blunt or otherwise. What words gathering in anticipation. Language is an exit. That is, language is an opening. That was not an option for you. Not then, blunt or otherwise. Years later, he tells me, I want to look like what I am, but I don't know what someone like me looks like. His voice stretched across the years. A decade lag. The archive is pretentious, precious, a posthumous fetish. Performance evolves in relation to what gathers around it. You train your voice to notice. You stretch or manipulate. Echo, repeat, overlay. Switching back and forth, eventually it will be so natural to you. To make sound strange, it's very obvious, a very obvious feeling. A marked incongruence. Vocal folds collapsing, choked more open. The sound is unremarkable. You're experiencing circumstances, and you'll probably remember some of them. Deviations, diversions, paraphilia, who's to say? The space inside your throat wasn't not necessarily pathological, depending on how well you can genuinely pretend to do something. Some are better at this than others. She goes missing. We drive around for days in a white convertible looking for her. The police find her instead, naked, tying her clothes to a telephone pole and setting them on fire. 72 hours, catch and release. We wait for her outside the psych hospital. They held her in the men's ward. They said she posed a threat to herself. We brought her a burrito. She didn't get the fun meds. The very pink magenta bottom line is potentially unpleasant. You swallow, shifting into subtext. Safer is just another word for happy together. Comfortable is just a word for, it is quite literally life and death, and happiness, and death, so over it. It's rude as hell.
I mean, no, I can use it. It's cool. I just won't do that again.
So this is from my new book. It's called Discuss.